All right, what's up, guys? Today's video is going to be about AEW 2 years later, what my thoughts are on what I like and what I dislike. I'm going to tell you what improvements they made over their first year in existence, and I'm going to tell you, what changes they made, what improvements that I like, what's different. So we're going to get into this video. Last year, I did make another video like this. It was called AEW Pros and Cons. It just covered their pros and cons of their first year. This video is going to cover more of their second year and this year, which is their third year. Maybe I do a year in review series like I do for WWE at the end of every year, but I don't know. But let's get into the presentation. What I like. I think this time around, there's a lot more things that I like about All Elite Wrestling than I did in their first year. One, the handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. Regardless of what you think about the pandemic, it did shut the entire world down. Now, obviously, I don't believe that. I think it was the governments that shut the world down. But anyway, that's regardless of what I think. The pandemic shut the world down. And we could not do the things that we used to, like live entertainment, hang out in big groups. Families cannot hang out for celebrations or holidays. The only way we can do that is by virtual attendance. I like the way AEW handled the pandemic. They made the pandemic feel like that. We're not in a pandemic, but we were. So instead of doing touring shows, they decided to do their shows at Daly's place in a big giant amphitheater. All right. And for about 4 to 5 months, there were no fans. So it was basically an empty arena show. But they came up with a great idea to replace the fans at Daly's place for the time being. They had their crowd sprinkle in the stadium as the fans. So they were spread out. Some were standing by ringside. So it acted like there was somewhat of a crowd there, which I can appreciate. And most of the dynamites that took place there were some of the best shows they've ever produced. Like Blood and Guts, Winter is Coming. Some of the pay-per-view, all their pay-per-views produced there, they were pretty good. Their COVID testing measures were also pretty good as well. They had people wearing masks, they did temperature checks, social distancing. They handled that pretty well. Unlike the World Wrestling Federation, for about 5 months, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, they were taping their shows in a warehouse with no fans. They did have their talent be sprinkled in as fans, and it had no effect. They were all wearing masks and standing behind plexiglass, but not in AEW. They also had COVID breakouts every single week. You barely heard a COVID breakout in AEW. So they had, their talent sprinkled in at Daly's place as the fans. They had testing measures, and they were the first wrestling company in the United States to bring back fans in person in a pandemic. It was on August 27th, 2020, 4 months into the pandemic. They decided to bring back fans to a 10 to 15% capacity. Great decision on them. I love seeing the fans back, and maybe they're one step closer to doing touring. Unlike WWE again, NXT is still taping out a warehouse, but WWE, they moved to the Thunderdome. I didn't mind the Thunderdome, but AEW, we saw real people in the stands instead of a bunch of virtual geeks on TV. So handling the pandemic, I did like. The Forbidden Door. It's a great concept. The Forbidden Door is open. What this is, it means AEW is partnering with a lot of companies to spruce up their show, spruce up other companies. Partnering up with New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, NWA, Ring of Honor, a lot of companies. You see a lot of people in other companies go over to AEW. We've seen Gallows and Anderson from TNA. They came on over. See Kenta from New Japan. He came on over. You saw Thunder Rosa from NWA. She came on over to AEW. It was just a great sighting to see because AEW's roster are not really well-known names. But when you bring in well names from other promotions, it kind of raises my eyebrow. You also get to see some AEW people go over the other companies, like Moxley defending his IWGP United States title. So making that title kind of stand out. That's a New Japan belt. Get to see Kenny Omega and Christian go over to Impact. That was great to see. However, my problem with the Forbidden Door is that they've also really failed to make the Forbidden Door seem important. It can, yeah, Kenny Omega hold the Impact World title. Yet we didn't really see a whole lot of Impact guys on AEW. We didn't. And a lot of these companies that they're partnering with, nobody watches. So I don't see why people should care about the Forbidden Door or why they should watch AEW because of these companies. No one watches them. Impact only gets 100,000 viewers. How's that going to create new fans for AEW? They're putting that aside. I think I like this. I wish they put a little bit more attention on this. But I like the Forbidden Door. It's what I like. I said this 3 years ago before AEW started. It's not going to take one company to take down Vince McMahon. It's going to take down many of them. And since fans are back in attendance, I'll give this thing a couple more years, see where we're at. More special events. One of my cons of my last video, I said that AEW only had 4 pay-per-views, but nothing else in between. But in year 2, year 3, they had a lot of special events that I did like. They had Winter is Coming. They had the Brody Lee Celebration of Life tribute show. Bash at the Beach. Beach Break. Their homecoming show. Blood and Guts. Grand Slam at Arthur Ashe Stadium. And then when they came back on the road, they did 4 back-to-back nights of televised events. They called it the Welcome Back Tour. They did Road Rager, Fighter Fest, Night 1 and Night 2, and then Fight for the Fallen. And this is great because it allowed AEW to have more feuds and storylines and projecting long-term ideas for their tentpole events. And they can also breathe through these special televised events to get to those pay-per-views instead of just waiting 2 months to start any type of build for a pay-per-view. And this really kind of avoids all the downtime that we had in the first year. There's still some downtime, yes, but not as much as there was. They're kind of going the old Impact Wrestling model 2013. Impact only had 4 pay-per-views. But in the months where they didn't have pay-per-view, they would have live televised specials. Some more special events is what I like. Another thing that I like is that they picked up talent. They picked up Sting, CM Punk, Matt Hardy, Rusev, who's going by Miro. You got Christian, you got Big Show, Mark Henry, Aleister Black, Daniel Bryan, Andrade, Chavo Guerrero, and Adam Cole. All these people I never thought would be in AEW. Now, yes, all these people are ex-WWE guys. Yes, there are people out there that have a problem with seeing ex-WWE guys in AEW. I do have a problem with that as well. It depends on how you book them. Most of these people, they've been booked pretty well so far. Some others, some haven't booked well than others for sure. But, I don't mind it. And these are big names that were successful in the WWE. Why not bring those guys in? Now, if you're bringing a guy like a Zack Ryder or a Ryback or Heath Slater, or if you're gonna bring in like a Ricochet or Dana Brooke, I won't really care for those types of people because they're not gonna draw you anything. But these guys can. They can draw AEW numbers, but as well provide support backstage. So picking up the talent, that is a positive. Now, what I dislike about AEW. They're SJWs. I mean, Tony Khan, he fired Jimmy Havoc. They fired Bea Priestley. They fired Ivelisse. They suspended Sammy Guevara. And they suspended for Max Caster. For what? Absolutely nothing. Jimmy Havoc, there were some like sexual abuse allegations against him. And what are my thoughts on allegations? To me, you are innocent till proven guilty. If Jimmy Havoc's not in handcuffs, if he's not locked inside a jail cell, this guy should be able to perform, regardless of what people are saying about him. This guy should not have been fired. Tony Khan should have waited, see what the authorities had to say, and then take things from there. And if he's guilty, then you can fire him. Rhea Priestley, they got rid of her. At least she said she had travel issues. I would have worked things out with her. I would have worked things out. Now if it's Rhea Priestley's request to leave, okay, but I would have worked things out first. Evilise, they released her due to like backstage issues. I was Tony Khan, I would work out Evilise. I mean, they did nothing with Evilise. She was one of the people from the Forbidden Door that they just dropped the ball on. So that just didn't make any sense. I don't know what the issues were, but Tony Khan should have worked out the issues with her instead of just firing her. Sammy Guevara, they suspended him. They fined him, sent him the sensitivity training for making a joke about Sasha Banks. Oh, yes, the joke about Sasha Banks, it was insensitive. But that was also 5 years ago on a podcast, on a small YouTube channel. This is before AEW's existence. This is out of their hands. And 5 years ago, he was a different person. He was a little immature, a little insensitive. He was not in the big spotlight. When you're not in the big spotlight, you can say a lot of things, get away with it. But this is Sammy Guevara now. I believe he's changed. I don't know for sure, but suspending this guy, that was wrong. Like what he said took place 5 years ago. All right, and now some people are saying online, well, what if he committed murder or robbed a bank? That's a different story. Okay, that's a different story. He didn't do anything. He just said something that he wasn't supposed to say. But I believe in the First Amendment, free speech. If he has to go on someone's podcast, say something like that, he can. Tony Khan should not have brushed it under the rug, but he should have talked to him to the side. Says, hey, I heard what you said in that podcast, but look, I know you're a changed man, but let's not say stuff like that again, all right? You're not in trouble or anything, but I'm just trying to look out for you. That's what Tony should have said. He suspended him. And they took a big dip in the ranks for 3 straight weeks. They lost to NXT. Max Caster, same thing, made a joke about Simone Biles and the Duke of the Cross investigation. First of all, there was no rape during the Duke of the Cross investigation. So everyone's saying Max Caster made a joke about rape. They're wrong. Duke was wrongly framed. And the person that did accuse Duke of rape, she was sent to jail for second-degree murder. She didn't want good on him for making the joke about the Duke of the Cross. And Simone Biles, she pulled out of the Olympics to like mental reasons. Like, you're going to suspend him because of that. First of all, this was on AEW's watch. So Tony Khan, he is to blame for this. He should look at the script, look at what promos they're going to do and say, all right, let's leave the Simone Biles stuff out of it. Let's leave the Duke stuff out of it. I don't really think that's a good fit right now. But nope, Tony Khan allowed him to go out there and say what he said. So I don't know why Tony Khan suspended him. It's like Tony just trying to cover his bases rather than Max Caster doing something wrong. If I was Tony Khan and I heard Max Caster say stuff, you know what? I would defend my boys. I'd go on an interview in Good Morning America on Fox News and say, you know what? We believe in the First Amendment. Max Caster can say what he wants to say. He wants to make fun of people, he can make fun of people. All right, instead of suspending the guy, I'd make this guy into a mega heel. Have a babyface come out and kick his keister like a Jungle Boy or a Darby Allin. The attitude there, they never really suspended people for stuff that they said. Look at DX and the crazy stuff they did. They suspend Shawn Michaels for, flashing himself or saying a bunch of offensive language. No. Instead, they built a babyface come out and kick their keisters like Steve Austin or Bret Hart. They also deliver copyright strikes. We're back in February. There's like a barbed wire explosion match. There was some type of botch where the pyro went off. That it was nothing but sparklers, and the fans were criticizing about it, and they were just striking everybody's Twitter or YouTube accounts down that showed like 30 seconds of their content. Now look, people should not use other people's content without permission. If you're gonna use someone's content, you should credit the author or the content creator. If you upload a 2.5 hour AEW pay-per-view event, yeah, your channel should be struck down because that's their property. But if you aren't giving credit to the author and you're following the fair use rule, then your content should not be struck down. And Tony Khan he's an SJW that can't take criticism. He's an SJW, that's what he is, and I can't stand that about him. If he continues on this streak, this stuff is going to be a major turn-on. Like, really, what if CM Punk goes on a podcast and says the N-word? Are they going to fire Phil Brooks? I mean, really, that could happen with 2 months from now. They fire Phil Brooks because says the N-word. It goes back to WWE. Back here in the WWE, these vanilla mentioned AEW, they suck. They fire me for what I say. I believe the First Amendment, free speech. That's how they treat me. They promise me all these things. They lied to my face. Now I'm back here in the WWE to make things right. And Vince McMahon probably releases CM Punk 3 weeks later. And he goes back to AEW and he goes back to WWE. And that'll be funny. But yeah, he's an SJW. I can't stand that about him. I hate SJWs. I don't mind social justice when it's needed, but this is not was when it was needed. The ranking system, I hate it. It makes no sense. They said the ranking system is based on wins. They fail to tell you about who they beat or why these wins are important, or where these wins came from. They come from Dark or Dynamite. Because if you win like 20 matches on Dark, they say you're ready to come in a more contender. To me, 20 matches you won on Dark does not constitute a championship contenders match. All right. To me, wins in wrestling, they do matter. But if you're going to challenge for a title, you need more than just wins. You need feuds, you need storylines, character development. You need to be ready on all bases. Let's dive into this ranking system. Okay, this is just released this Friday. Men's rankings, 1. This is for the AEW World title or the TNT title. I don't know why Kenny Omega, and Miro are both listed here. So what ranking system is this for? I don't know. 1, Orange Cassidy. How's he done for contender? He's done nothing. He hasn't done anything since Chris Jericho. Been no feuds, no storylines. I mean, Chris Jericho stuff is all right. The Kenny Omega stuff is all right. If Sabian don't care, Matt Hardy stuff right now, I just don't care about it. But he hasn't really done anything. So how's he the number 1 contender? Hobbs, again, I like Hobbs, but he's done nothing. Moxley, I don't mind him. Christian, don't mind him. Jungle Boy, again, how is he in the rankings? He's part of a tag team. I don't really see the appeal in Jungle Boy, so I don't really care about that. Women's rankings, they have Baker as a champion. I don't mind Thunder Rosa in the rankings. Jade Cargill, I guess she's all right. I don't know if I would put her number 2. Hikaru, yeah, I don't mind her. I like Hikaru, but she has no personality. I cannot connect with her. I like her look, but no personality. Ty Conchi, Chris Statlander, I don't know why they're in the rankings. What are they done to be ranked? I like these women, but they've done nothing. They've done nothing with Chris Statlander's character and Ty Conchi. They haven't really done a whole lot with her either. The tag team rankings. Lucha Brothers, they're the champions, don't mind it. Young Bucks, they're in the ranking system, don't mind it. Jurassic Express, I don't see why they're in the ranking system. They haven't really done anything. Same thing with the Gun Club. Same thing with Private Party. I don't mind FTR. The other problem is these ranking systems, they don't make you feel important. They don't make them feel important at all. They don't tell you, who's ranked who, why they're ranked that. The only thing they care about is the guy who's number one. They don't care about who's number 2, 3, 4, or 5. They don't even build tension or drama in these ranking systems to make them stand out and feel personal. They don't. This is not like a division that you would see in baseball or football, where there's cutthroat competition. For an example, Orange Cassidy's number 1, Powerhouse Hobbs is number 2. So why are those two not feuding with each other to see who becomes number 1 contender? And why is Christian not feuding with Jungle Boy to see who becomes the number 4 contender? Then the Rosa Jade Cargo. Why are they not feuding with one another? Why is Ty Conch and Chris Statlander not feuding with one another? Why are the Young Bucks and Jurassic Express, why are they not feuding with each other? I did have a couple of matches a couple weeks ago. Okay. Again, why is Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus in the tag team rankings when Jungle Boy is in the men's rankings for the AEW World title? Makes no sense. It's like baseball. The Cincinnati Reds, they're in the National League Central, but they can't be in the National League West rankings either. They have to be in one. Why is Private Party and FTR, why are they not feuding with each other? Why are they only listing 5 people in the rankings? AEW has more than 5 tag teams. They have more than 5 women. They have more than 5 men. They should be listing everybody in the rankings and then rank the top 5. That's what they should do. So this whole ranking system, I don't mind having a ranking system, but they got to make me care, man. I don't know if you all else care. I don't care. Maybe it's just me being negative, but the ranking system does nothing for me. Oversaturation of markets, another thing I don't like. They have too many shows. They have Dynamite, Dark Elevation, the Go Big Show, Rampage, Road to the Top. Most of these shows, they don't really need. I don't see why they need to Go Big Show, Road to the Top. I don't care for reality television. Rampage, I don't mind Rampage, but I haven't watched the show live since CM Punk's debut. Shows nothing but a bunch of wrestling matches. Not really care for. No characters, no storylines. It's just a bunch of matches. If you don't watch wrestling matches, that's fine, but it doesn't sell to me. Dark Elevation, I didn't mind Dark at first, but these shows are way too long. They're like 90 minutes long. They have like 17 matches on the show every week. They don't need that. Make the show 45 minutes, have 3 to 4 matches. That's it. Dark should be used as an experimental show for stuff you want to put on Dynamite. Have more storylines on there, more promos, more in-ring segments, or backstage segments. Like Dr. Britt Baker's waiting room. That was good. They needed more stuff like that. Elevation, don't care for it. It's a rip-off of Dark. It's the exact same. There's nothing different about it. I feel like they're also oversaturating the market. There's too much wrestling. Again, AEW, my biggest problem that there's a lot of wrestling. Now, if you like seeing a lot of wrestling, that's fine. But it's not going to draw people that don't watch wrestling or people that watch wrestling the last 10 years. They're not going to care. Yes, a lot of their matches have been good, like Cody and Goldust, or the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and Hangman Page. Jon Moxley, yeah. All right, he's pretty good. MJF is pretty good. A lot of these matches are pretty good. But it's just too much. If they can spread these matches out over Dynamite over the next several weeks, then okay. But you don't need to load up Dynamite with 7 matches a week. You don't need to load up Darker Elevation with 15 matches a week. Have 3 to 4 matches per week, then save the others for the next week. That's what they need to do. There's too much wrestling. Have to cut 20% of the wrestling out, put that focus more on character development and storylines. Some of these matches I don't mind, but there's a lot in here that I don't need. A lot of women's matches don't care for. A lot of tag team matches don't care for. A lot of mid-card matches I just don't care for. Cut those matches out. Develop their characters first, didn't put them in a match. They still have no focus on the mid-card. The mid-card division is in shambles. The only stuff that I like is the Elite, the Inner Circle. They're all right. Kenny Omega's crew, the Elite. They're all right. John Moxley's all right. Cody Rhodes is all right. The Elite has something to do. But it's everybody else that just feels completely directionless. Joey Janela, he's done nothing. I like his look, but don't care about him. Sonny Kiss, don't care for Sonny Kiss. Don't know why he dresses the way he dresses. They would dive deep into that. I might be sold, but don't care for Sonny Kiss. Kip Sabian before. I like their look. It could be AEW's version of Miz and Maurice. They've done nothing with them, so I don't really care. Diamante, I'm a fan of Diamante since her days in TNA, but they've completely failed here. She's jobbing out people on Dark. I don't know why. Put in a feud with somebody on Dynamite. I don't know. Abaddon, I like her character, but they're giving her no backstory. She's in no feuds. Don't care. Sting and Darby Allin, I like the pairing, but there's no direction. What's the end game? I don't get it. Have these guys go after the tag belts, or have Darby Allin go after Miro and get his TNT title back. Chris Statlander and the best friends of Orange Cassidy, don't care. Orange Cassidy, man, I like Orange Cassidy. I like his look. He's done some good stuff, but he has no direction. Where is he going? Same thing with Statlander. Why should I care about her? She calls herself an alien. Why? I don't get it. Jurassic Express, I like them as a team, but again, they've had no direction since the pandemic began. They gave Jungle Boy some focus this year. He did like a feud with Kenny Omega over the summer. That was all right. But after that, they haven't really done anything else. Miro, I like the presentation of Miro, but he's the TNT champion. But he's had no feuds, had no storylines, only a bunch of open challenges. I'm not a fan of open challenges. Shows you how lazy creative is. The only thing AEW has that's good going on is the Elite. Everything else is just crap. These guys, these mid-carders are going to be the future of your company. And when the Elite leave, these guys aren't going to be ready to hold down the fort. I believe AEW will fizzle out, not because I hate AEW, because I'm concerned by it. And I've seen other wrestling companies fall. They start off good, and then they fall like 5 years later. I guarantee you by year 6, year 7, close to the year 10, AEW is going to fizzle out. That's the stuff that I like and what I dislike about AEW. This is my AEW 2 years later review. My approval rating, I think they're a wonderful alternative to WWE. I don't see them as competition quite yet, but they have produced a lot of good shows, man. A lot of good stuff. There's some bad stuff as well. I'll give them a 9 out of 10. There's a lot of things that I like, but they still have a lot of issues. And I might not hate AEW, but if these issues are still there 3, 4, 5 years later, I may be. But 9 out of 10 is my approval rate. That's a good rating. So they need to keep up the good work and improve on the areas that I have issues with. So I'll see them around year 3, maybe year 5. I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be an annual thing, but this has been your AEW 2 years later discussion / review.